Without further ado, we are joined by our first ever guest for the At Odds podcast, one of my favorite people I have ever talked to in my life while I was covering mixed martial arts. He is a MMA fighter. He is now a pro boxer. This guy has some of the craziest stories you've ever heard in your entire life. Sean, the Destroyer Loeffler, has joined us from California. Sean, how you doing tonight, man?
Dude, I'm doing good. I just got done with my run. I got my team here because, this is our basically last training session with the whole team and coaches before we fight on Saturday. Weigh-ins on Friday and then fight Saturday. So we just took a little break to make sure I could get on your guys' show and be the first guest, which I'm honored about, by the way. You guys are fucking awesome. And, I'm excited to talk to you guys.
Appreciate that, man. Thanks.
Definitely. Yep. So let's talk about the transition. I mean, you were just kicking ass and taking names in MMA, and then you decided to switch over to boxing. So, what led to that decision, and how did you get here from there?
Yeah, I mean, most people that know me know I did amateur boxing. I was an amateur boxer, silver gloves, golden gloves, and tried to, do some of the world games and the national showdowns and stuff. So, but that was back, that was back like 94, 93, 95 when I was like, doing silver gloves and then golden gloves up to before teenager. So you're just talking about like little kids matches once in a while, and then when I was like 17, started doing more boxing, and I was really thinking like, man, I'm gonna do the whole, like I could maybe make a run, maybe if I do good in the the Desert Showdown, which is a big tournament, and then the Kansas City Nationals and Golden Gloves, like I can maybe do an Olympic team run or whatever. And that was in '99, and it realistically I was just like looking at everything. But I knew jiu-jitsu, and I knew how to wrestle, and I'd fought, and I got an opportunity to do a pro MMA fight. I was actually in the corner. Tito Ortiz was fucking there. Rob McCullough was there back in the day. And it was an opportunity where a guy got injured from team punishment, and I was an amateur fighter, and my manager and coaches were there, and the promoter runs back, like, what happened? They're like, dude, he slipped and fell. He cut his head on this guardrail. One of my teammates cut his head on a guardrail walking into the fight. And I was talking shit. Actually, I was talking shit about his opponent, too. This huge fucking black dude with muscles was supposed to fight my teammate. And I knew I was an amateur fighter and not fighting that day. So, of course, I'm 17. I'm like, oh, fuck that dude up. And Jason's like, dude, this guy kill you, Sean. What are you talking about? You're 17. I was like, yeah, he's lucky I'm not fighting him. Well, Jay gets hurt because he's wearing these DVS slippers that people used to buy at surf shops. And, like, they were like slipper shoes in the back room. He fucking slips, cut his head. So the promoter runs back, is like, what's up? And my fucking coaches are like, hey, Jason, give Sean your cup and your gloves. So I'm holding Jason's cup and gloves, assuming, like, I guess we're going to the hospital. And they look at me, and I look at them, and they go, you said you could fuck him up. And I go, I was just talking shit. I don't want to fucking fight pro. and then they were like, Sean, you just said you're going to fuck that dude up. Put the fucking gloves and put the cup on and go out there. And they fucking gave me some unmolded mouthpiece, and that was my actually pro debut. So that's how it was kind of so fucking random down in Mexico. So it was like one of those kind of crazy fucking randomness that I turned pro in MMA. So it's like teammate got fucking hurt, and I was the amateur fighter doing, amateur MMA and amateur boxing. And then I just realized, well, fuck, I can't do fucking boxing anymore because I just turned pro in MMA, and everybody saw me knock this fucking really buff dude out, and I'm like a kid. So then I just kept fighting. I got the right people behind me with MMA and kept fighting. But the whole time, and I don't mean to say this to be cliche, but the whole time I've been fighting, like, I fucking hate people. Like, I get the fights I've lost, it's because people take me down, and I'm still a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but, like, they take me down and they wrestle fuck me or lay it on top of me or push me against the cage and, like, didn't want to trade, and I always hated that. Like, I loved MMA. Nothing against UFC, Bellator, King of the Cage, IFL, all the great organizations that have ever worked with me. I love MMA in Japan and Brazil, but like, I always had a thought in my head, like, these fucking faggots, like, I don't mean that in a bad way, but faggot means different. Faggot to me doesn't mean what it means to other people. Like, I would never call somebody a fag because of their sexual orientation. It's just that they're acting all faggy and trying to take me down for no reason. So, like, I fucking, always would think, like, these motherfuckers are trying to, always take me down when I hit them or always take me down when I kick them. So my last few fights, even though I fought a couple people that were over the hill, Aaron Brink and Pat Smith, some UFC veterans, I was like, I'm just going to knock these motherfuckers out. Like, I'm just going to put them on a fucking floorboards because I'm tired of wrestling people. So I just started throwing like really committed strikes my last few fights, thinking like, well, it's tiny MMA gloves and it's shins to the face. So I fought long enough to know if I fucking commit and connect or just set one shot up, that'll be it. So I started really working on my timing with like Kali and stick fighting at the end of my MMA career to just pick and choose single direct attacks to look for knockouts, severe concussions. And then I started realizing like, man, I'm focusing so much on Eskrima, Arnis, Kali, empty hand fighting plus weapons fighting just to work on my distance and timing so I don't have to wrestle and I can strike. Why the fuck don't I just box? And Chris Getz, who was the first owner of a boxing gym in San Diego for 19 years, Black Tiger Boxing, which Black Tiger Muay Thai bred a fuck ton of good fighters in San Diego. Anybody old school Muay Thai knows about Chris Getz and that gym. Plus, Chris Getz is a pro boxer, so like he's friends with, he's like personal friends with Ray Boom Boom Mancini, personal friends with Tommy Hearns. So he started talking to me. He's like, Sean, you could be a fucking good ass boxer. And I was like, no, I know I got hands and shit, but I'm an MMA guy. And then he was like, man, what about making the transition? And then when the UFC got bought by the Chinese company, that was pretty much the coup d'etat with Joe Silva leaving. And because Joe Silva always offered me fights once in a while, like I'd be injured or I wouldn't be on weight or I'd have another fight booked, but he was always like trying to offer me stuff even though it wasn't feasible. And he would say like, Sean, this is kind of fucked, but this is what we got, And now, once that Chinese company bought the UFC, I haven't fucking had a phone call or anything from them, period. And it looks like the UFC is going towards like the Sage Northcutt, Alan Dubon, Paige Van Zant, like the pretty model type people that are young, good-looking, marketable fighters. So that's what they do in Chinese marketing. In China, they have young actors and young models and young stars and young musicians because they like that young fucking look over in the Asian culture. And so they I think that their business plan and the billions that they spent aren't going to go for 35-year-old tattooed white boys,
Hey, man, you're a pretty handsome guy yourself, though. Don't sell yourself short.
Yeah, lots of me, but
no, I know what you're talking about with those Asians and the way they see. Like, if you ever watch a lot of the Asian action movies, the guys that they do kick ass. I mean, they got some serious skills, but they're always like they look like they would model for polo or something. You know what I mean? They're all like chiseled guys, like all model look, and they're in like fitted suits, and they're out there kicking ass in these movies. So I definitely get what you're saying with that point. It makes sense now that you say it.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, what I was saying, yeah, like it makes sense because you have, like, business-wise, I mean, I own the compound, so anybody who wants to train in San Diego, come by the compound. Most people already know that, and we've got a shit ton of fighters here, so come by the compound. But owning the compound, I went from living in the janitor's closet here with the previous owners, Claudia and Frank, who started it, and they gave me the opportunity to own it and take it over and then make it mine, which they did. And when they moved, so I went from living in the janitor's closet and working at the compound to now owning a house down the street and owning the gym. And just business-wise, you look at trends and you look at demographics. That's how you know analytics of business. Any fucking retard can look at that. And China has, like you said, young, good-looking, marketable, talented people, which as well they should. And since they spent $4 billion from Zuffa on the UFC, they're going to go with their marketing plan. And guess what? They were able to make enough money to spend $4 billion on the UFC. So whatever choices they're making are going to be fiduciarily sound for the UFC. I know that. And I don't think a fiduciary sound decision is hitting up a fucking tattooed ex-UFC kind of disgruntled white boy fighter that could knock out any of those pieces of shit in the middleweight or light heavyweight divisions and then talk a bunch of shit on the microphone afterwards and be like, yeah, fuck these fools, dude. I should have done this 10 years ago, and everyone that knows MMA knows, like, oh, Loeffler would have fucked that fool up. But now I get a chance. Well, that's a liability to them. They don't want that. They don't want some live wire that they can't control and that can knock out all their talent, Like, they want to build the brand, which I get. It's super smart. Like, I'm not that exactly what they're looking for anymore. But guess what, dude? A white heavyweight boxer is always fucking marketable. Ask anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Now, let's talk about, the boxing itself. You had 7 fights so far, all 7 knockout wins, all in Mexico. So what's it like, having to cross the border and go compete in Mexico? Because I know you fought in Mexico a little bit in your MMA career. Is it
Correct.
easy to go down there and just set something up, be like, just take a swig of whiskey, go to a bar, or do you have to, is it official?
No, dude, boxing's legit. Now, boxing down there, you got to imagine, like, there's two things that are very, very closely regulated in Mexico. You want to know what those two things are?
I'm guessing drugs and boxing.
Soccer and boxing.
There we go.
So you got I'm just saying sport-wise I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but everything, obviously, every fucking thing is corrupt down there. Anything's got a price tag. But but the one thing that doesn't have a price tag, like the one fucking thing they have integrity with, is boxing and soccer, or football and boxing. You know, football americano and boxeo. So peleo professional boxing. So down there, it's like a national icon. So we got to get blood drawn. We got to get doctor's physicals done. We got to get meet with a doctor. We got to get our, same type of stuff. Not as in depth as in California or Nevada or in the United States per se, just because they don't have the facilities with MRI machines and EKGs and stuff. But they use every resource that they do have, and you got to be right on weight. Like they don't fuck around. It's like it's sort of an uncomfortable situation, but once you learn the ropes, you do what they say, and you pay the whatever fees that you think you do or don't have to pay, and you think sometimes they're ripping you off, sometimes they're not. You don't really know, but you pay it, you keep your mouth fucking shut, and then you know you're going to fight somebody that's going to fight. Like, there's nobody down there that's not going to fight. Like, in MMA, dude, like this whole Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather thing, it'll probably happen because it makes money, and it makes sense. Why does it make sense? Conor isn't going to lose any stock by getting beat up by Floyd. Floyd has no risk because Conor won't be able to hit him once. McGregor, mark Sean Loeffler's words, Conor McGregor will not be able to land one solid, clean shot on Floyd. In fact, if they do fight, I will guarantee on my life Conor McGregor won't land two shots in a row. So if he lands a glancing blow, what makes a boxer is defense, is how to know to not get hit. So great boxers, Floyd Mayweather, Willie Pep, Ezra Charles, fucking Jack Dempsey, Mike Tyson, they knew how to get hit, but only once. They would never get hit with those 3 or 4 punches. That's why Buster Douglas knocked out Mike, because he landed those, cross, hook, uppercut, hook, cross. So, and he got caught, which happens. But the difference in boxing and MMA is boxers, and I grew up boxing. When my dad used to wake me up at 5 years old. Hey, Mike's on NBC, Mike's on CBS, or Austin De La Hoya is fighting at 7 years old, at 10 p.m. at night on network television. So I grew up boxing and working with Freddie Roach and James Lucero and Sonny Michaels and Hector Gill, rest in peace. My coach that was Sean killed. Like all these guys. So these people that talk about boxing and MMA, it's not even the same. Like, they don't even realize, even though you hear that all the time, what they don't realize is really the amount of ineptness of striking in mixed martial artists. Like, the best striker in MMA. So Conor McGregor would get tooled by, like, a 17-30 boxer. Like, 17 wins, 30 losses. Like, that guy would fuck him up because they know how to box. They know how to put themselves in positions to last. Like, boxers know how to be durable and last 4 rounds, or to pick a shot, or to defend themselves. You know what I mean? And so it's just, but it's going to happen because Floyd wants it to happen for sure because he's got no risk. It's an easy fight. He's going to make a couple $100 million. Conor wants it to happen because his stock doesn't go down by losing to the greatest defensive boxer, one of the top 3 defensive boxers of all time, him, Pernell Whitaker, probably. So you got fucking Floyd Mayweather wanting it to happen for money. Conor McGregor wanting it to happen for money, and both sides are going to make money at it. They just have to do it in Russia because the California or Nevada or American Athletic Commission will never sanction a 49-0 versus a 0-0, regardless of the other sport they played. So they have to do it in Russia. But it'll make money because Floyd will carry Conor until he wants to knock him out, and then he'll end the fight.
I agree with you on that. I 100% agree with you.
And so with me, with boxing, with me, it's like I study boxing. I study these things. So going down to Mexico, they respect me because I know boxing. And, like, I know I'm not just, like, an MMA guy trying to, like fuck around like Conor McGregor by posting Instagram videos of me doing little, like, choreographed combinations. Like, I'm actually fighting in other places. I'm going to Guam and fighting, going to Mexico and fighting, now going to Burbank and fighting. And so the people down there, it's a little sketchy, but they're at least, like, they call me, like, Gringo Loco or Güero Loco, like crazy white boy or crazy gringo. But they're like, man, this kid's fighting. And the guys down there, like I said, if you think you're going down there for an easy fight, like, I'm going to do a boxing career, have fun, man. Fucking have fun. Because I saw, like, 4 different fucking MMA guys got knocked out on my last card. They hit me up personally for fucking, hey, can you give me a pro boxing fight? Yeah, sure. here's who you got to talk to. It's going to cost you like $800-900 with medicals and shit your first fight, and 4 of them got knocked out of 6.
Damn.
And remember, those 4 guys, one, and I'm not going to say names, I think that'd be fucked up, but especially because I fucking helped set them up, but not set them up to lose, set up the fights for them. So one guy was 8-0 MMA, lost in the first round to a 1-8 boxing, and the boxer was 30 pounds less than him. The other guy that lost was 4-1 MMA, lost to a 2-2 by decision. The other one was 3-0-1 MMA, lost to an 0-3 by knockout in the first round.
Yeah.
They fight down there. They fucking fight, you know. But, so Burbank's going to be fun, you know. It's going to be fun. First fight in America, so we'll see the difference, you know.
Yeah, and you've been fighting. Okay, go ahead, Brandon.
I was just wondering, you can tell us a little bit about who you're fighting down there?
In Mexico?
No, who you're fighting coming up.
Yeah, the Ortega dude.
Oh, in Burbank. Yeah, Oswaldo Ortega. So this guy is fucking, he's a tough, durable dude. So he went to amateur. His amateur record was 13-2-2. So he had a pretty good amateur record. And then he won his pro debut by knockout in the first round. Came to the U.S. to fight a guy that was 8-0 when he was 1-0. Lost a split decision to the 8-0. So he's 1-1. He then went down to Mexico, won a fight against some crappy fighter, then came back to the U.S., fought 3 more times against a 12-0, an 18-1, and a 16-2. All of those except for one were split decisions. So the guy professional's record's like a 2-5, but his 2 wins are first-round knockouts. His 5 losses are 4 split decisions to 18-0, 16-2, 8-0, and 3-0, and then a majority decision to a 19-1.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's a little bit deceitful there, huh?
Well, he's durable. So, so he's losing rounds, but he ain't getting knocked out, and he's not there. And his 2 fights that he won by knockout, so he's going to come in hot. You know, like Teddy Atlas always says, we're firefighters. He's going to come hot. We got to put out the flames. We have to extinguish the flames, and we're comfortable in the fire. You know, when we're in the fire, we're firefighters. So this is where we live. We want to be in the fire, and we corral the flames where we want them, and then we put them out. And so we know he's going to come hot because he's got 2 first-round knockouts, and we know that he loses the fights later on in the fight. So, you know, I'm not a smart man, but if I was a smart man, I'm saying Oswaldo's coming hot for a round and a half, and then I think I can take over. You know, it's a 6-round fight, so I should be able to pace it. But if he steps into something, he's getting knocked the fuck out in the first round.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to say is, you know, all your fights, like maybe your last, 15 fights or something crazy like that, have all been pretty quick first knockouts. So do you think that you can be that guy that puts this dude away?
That's what I know. See, this is my U.S. debut, so nobody's, the guy's professional 2-5, so, and I'm 7-0, so we both have 7 fights. But when you look at that, I'm 7-0 with 7 first-round knockouts, so I have 7 rounds experience. 2-5, but his 5 losses were all 4-round fights that went decisions. So that's 20 rounds plus the 2 rounds he's won. So he's got 22 rounds pro boxing experience. I've got 7. He's 25 years old. I'm 35 years old. I do have size, reach, and a better record than him, and obviously more experience with martial arts and MMA. But I know that they're giving me an opponent exactly like what you guys said, to see if I am that guy. Yeah, they expect that Sean should be able to beat Oswaldo Ortega unless Oswaldo knocks him out in the first round, which he's capable of because it's boxing and he hits hard. But besides that variable, yeah, I think these promoters and Roy Jones Jr.'s and the James Tonys, the people that have called me out, James Toney called me out, Roy Jones called me out, these fucking guys, I think they're looking to see, is this kid really got the power that it seems like he has with these MMA fights and these boxing fights? And so obviously, I think they look for an opponent for me to look good against, but also to challenge myself to see, hey, am I going to be able to be the first guy to finish this guy? Because the 19-1 couldn't, the 18-0 couldn't, the 16-2 couldn't, the 8-0 couldn't, the 3-0 couldn't. So can Sean, you know?
Yeah, that's
I got a question about that. It seems like you bang. That's your style. You know, you bang. So coming in against a guy that basically mirrors your style almost, do you think that you can kind of lay back and kind of try to outbox him for a round and a half to try and wear him down a little bit, or do you think you're just going to end up, your mind's going to kick into that gear to start banging?
Well, I mean, not to sound like, have you seen my last couple of fights?
Yeah.
No, I have not.
I watched them.
I
the one with
didn't
the body
really
shot
bang it.
time, I think.
Yeah. Like I boxed. Like my last fight, I didn't throw a right hand for like a minute and a half. I used my fucking my jab, my lead uppercut, my lead hook to the body, lead hook to the head. I stirred the pot a little bit. So my last like 3 fights, except for the one body shot knockout, the body shot was a quick knockout. But the other fights besides that, yeah, they were first round knockouts, but they were like 253, 247, 230. 258 because I was trying to box him a little bit and like let him come, set him up with my jab because I'm so tall compared to especially Mexican heavyweights. I fought one guy taller than me, a 6'5" guy. And that fight I fought pretty sloppy, to tell you the truth. It was my first pro fight, though, the biggest guy I fought. But then since then, like you said, I have been trying to just really work on that, to put my heels out, to cover up, to, kind of shoulder roll, and to more boxing. So my last couple of fights, I've been doing better actually boxing because I don't want to just get in.
Yeah, he's here. I can hear him.
Yeah, I was saying my last couple of fights, I just didn't want to get into some slugfest early, but I ended up doing that. So, yeah, usually what happens is I start out boxing, and I try to look good boxing, and then the fucker will hit me hard in the face, and I'm like, this piece of shit, and then I try to fucking knock him out.
I watched a bunch of your MMA fights. I was pretty impressed. The last guy you fought was a geriatric motherfucker, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, but that was Patrick Smith. He fought at like UFC 1.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
He was pretty old. He was fucking like 49 years old. He had just beat Butterbean. So
no shit.
Pat Smith has been fighting. Like, he's a UFC champion. So he had won like his last 4 fights or 3 fights, and then he did some like exhibition stuff and some boxing, and he beat Butterbean. He knocked out Butterbean in the World Fight League or whatever. And so when they offered me him, I kind of Pat Smith is awesome. First of all, Pat Smith is a legend. He's in the Martial Arts Hall of Fame. And and he's got like 10 black belts. He's in the Karate Hall of Fame. So I take nothing away from him. When they offered me the Pat Smith fight, not because it was Pat Smith, but it was an older guy that fought in like UFC 3 and UFC 7, and we're in 2016. And I'm like, fuck, I don't know. And then they're like, but Sean, they're like, he just knocked out Butterbean, and they're like, nobody else in this area that you fight is going to have any name at all. They're like, you knocked out Aaron Brink, so nobody else wants to fucking fight you anymore. And then they go, so unless it's a UFC or a Bellator fight, which you're not getting offered, we need to get you big names, and at least this guy's a name. They're like, or you're going to fight some 5-0 fucking 23-year-old kid that nobody knows about. You're going to beat him in 30 seconds with jiu-jitsu or knockout, and it's going to be like, so at least fight a legend or somebody that's a feather in your cap, even though he's old. So that's why, I was like, well, he did win his last fight. All right, but at the same time, I respect him, and I just kind of went in there to just do my job and get it done,
Oh, yeah. I remember him. I used to watch all the old UFCs, like back in the day where people, it was basically no rules.
Just headbutts.
Yeah, anything. Shots, whatever you want. No eye gouging, that's it.
So it's like one of those things, but at the same time, I'm also, like I said earlier, I'm also a businessman, and I own a gym. And people bought tickets a lot more people bought tickets for me fighting Pat Smith than are fighting for me to fight this Oswaldo guy, man. Like, ticket sales have been slow for boxing, and it's the day before Easter. So I want all my fans to try to support me and come out because obviously the day before Easter, obviously being in Burbank and I'm in San Diego, it's a 3.5-hour drive. So it's kind of rough, for my U.S. debut. So, the Pat Smith fight was in San Diego with a former UFC champion guy. So even though he's, geriatric and sponsored by Geritol, at least we could sell 500 tickets, and people are going to be like, well, let's see if Sean's, can beat a guy that was at least a top-level guy back in the day, or if it's gonna, if he's going to have to struggle with him. So
I get it. Yeah, I get it 100%.
So it is what it, and there's not, if there was other guys, I wish trust me, I wish the UFC would call and offer me one fight, I would take a hiatus from boxing and go and box in the UFC. Like, my answer is I don't think anybody's going to take me down or submit me. And I think now with my boxing for the last year, just only sparring but boxing, only working with boxers and boxing coaches and going to, Mayweather's gym and going up to Wild Card and going to these places, I would love to fight MMA because I watch these guys' hands. I'm like licking my chops. Like, oh, fuck. I watched the Anthony Johnson-Daniel Cormier fight, and I was like, oh, my God, I would fucking knock both of these guys out. Like, Anthony Johnson is punching so hard with his right hand, he's stepping forward with his right, switching stances by accident. And Dan Cormier is putting his hands on, getting kicked in. It was fucking ugly.
Oh, yeah. I'm not a big Cormier fan at all anyway. I can't wait for Jones to come back. What do you think of John Jones? Do you like John Jones?
I do like John Jones. I think John Jones is I think it's unfortunate. John Jones has a lot of unfortunate circumstance happen in his life. You know, I think that that John Jones reminds me a lot of Johnny Manziel. And, like, it's all the talent in the world, but he's got character issues, an internal thing. Like, he's insecure. Like, deep down inside, like, John Jones has some, like, deep down, like, internal demons that he's, like, developing. Like, yeah, he can fight, and, like, yeah, he can throw a left hand and an elbow, and he's got an 84-inch reach, and, yeah, he's Bone Jones. And, yeah, he wrestled in college. But fundamentally, like, I think he's all there, but inside, I think it's a lot of emptiness, and I think he's got a lot of internal insecurities and demons that are going to make it to where he'll always fuck himself over. I think he self-sabotages himself because it gives him an excuse. If he loses a fight because he's on steroids, or he loses a fight because he's doing cocaine, or he's drunk driving, or he's partying, or he's drinking every night and spending $16,000 at a bar every night, if he loses because of that, then it gives him a cop-out for everybody to be like, see, if he would have applied himself, he could be the best. It's like Adrian Broner. Perfect example in boxing. Like Adrian Broner, you know, he lost his fight to Sean Porter. And then he has like these, everybody goes like, well, if he didn't train that hard. If he would have trained, he was more worried about getting gold teeth and then fucking sparring. And so I think you know that. You know you're fighting a championship fight. You know you're the UFC champion. You know you're Adrian Broner. You know you're John Bone Jones. You know the fucking spotlight's on you. So by making those decisions consciously, I think it's subconsciously giving you that out to where if you do get beat, you can go, everybody kind of gives that, you know, that little Pythagorean theorem, like, but it was the drugs, but it was the alcohol, but it was the partying, but it was the mentality. Because if he gives 100% and makes every right choice and then loses, his legacy's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now, you mentioned how a lot of bad things happen into, you know, John Jones, Broner, those guys. And I've looked up, you know, read about you a lot and looked at some of your old interviews, and there's something you always brought up, but I never heard it fleshed out a little bit. You mentioned you got shot, you got stabbed. I've never heard the story of you getting shot or stabbed. Is that something you'd be willing to share?
Well, it's just back in the day, like growing up in parties, you know, in L.A., like basically I had the best parents in the fucking world. My dad was an LAPD cop, and my mom was a Catholic school secretary. And so my parents were married like 26 years. I had a twin sister, had the best fucking upbringing ever. They were dope, you know. And when I was a sophomore, they got divorced. And so my mom moved and my dad moved. So then basically like 16 years old, from like 16 to probably like 23 is when I realistically started like kind of getting my head right on my shoulders. I was never like a straight gangster or anything like that. Like I would sell weed here and there. I'd fucking, you know, like do stupid shit with my friends, or like sell a gun here or there, pick up a gun, like stupid fucking shit. You know, I'm living in L.A. and I'm fucking trying to make it on my own. My parents were like, hey, Sean, come live in San Clemente, my dad. But I'm like, dude, I don't want to fucking leave all my friends and my coaches and my fighting, and I'm young, you know? And my mom moved to Malaysia with her husband, and she's like, moved to Malaysia, to Kuala Lumpur with me and my husband. So it's not like they didn't offer me to be there. I didn't want to go. When they got divorced, I was like, that was your shit. I'm fucking a kid. I'm 16. I want to fight. I want to fucking stay here with my friends. I want to surf. I want to fucking get tattooed by my homies. Like, I'm a kid, you know? So, and I was growing up in L.A., so I stayed in L.A. Well, you got to imagine at 18, 19, 20 years old, you know, I had a kid when I was 17, and you know, you start making kind of rough decisions and shit, getting like little bits of arrests here and there and fights and shit. And so one thing leads to another, and fucking, you know, like shit just happens. I mean, you know, like the two different instances. I was stabbed twice, 2 different times. I've been stabbed. I was stabbed in the Philippines once with a box cutter, so I guess I've been stabbed 3 times. But it's like you just, you know, you get into you're young, and I wouldn't say so much immaturity. I think it's more just like testosterone. You're like, fuck this motherfucker, you know? Like, and like he pulls a knife, and you're like, yeah, what are you gonna do with that knife? And then you don't realize like his buddy's sitting behind you who also has a knife. You're like, oh shit, didn't see that one. So you know, like, just shit like that, or you talk. Here's the thing with me. Here's my issue. I'll just give a short synopsis, all right, without giving. You know, I don't want. I'm a family man. You know what I mean? I'm a family man. I'm not a gangster. I've got tattoos and shit. I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a criminal. I've never had a felony. Never been in trouble for anything. So way back in the past, when you're growing up in L.A., you do stupid shit. You know what I mean? You don't rob people. I never robbed anybody or stuff like that. But what I mean by stupid shit is you're 19 and you get drunk with your homies and you start hitting on a bunch of chicks at a party. their fucking boyfriends or whatever come into the party, and you and your friends start making fun of them. That's what I mean by stupid shit, right? So their 22-year-old boyfriends are fucking black guy, Mexican guy, and we're hitting on their Mexican girlfriends, and we're in Carson, and they're talking shit, so they call us out. So I go, really, motherfucker? I'm 17, 18, 19. We go outside. I whoop the shit out of them because I've been fighting since I was 5 years old. Well, they then got their fucking ass kicked in front of their homies in L.A. and in front of their girlfriend, so they don't go like, oh, man, props, good job, you guys got squabbles, you just, I caught a fade, my fucking bad. No, those motherfuckers, like, they don't just brush themselves off to get back on fleek and try to fuck their bitch. No, they fucking go to their car and they get their fucking, they get their cueta or their fucking, strap, and then they try talking shit or shooting into the party or come up to you and run up to you and try to fucking stab you with a Swiss Army knife. Yeah, motherfucker, who's the man now? Same old shit you see in the movies and shit, bullshit. And then you grow up and you fucking and you realize I'm not going to go to house parties in Compton and Carson anymore with a bunch of my white homies and hit on Mexican chicks. And then you think, well, I'm not going to go to fucking the Philippines and talk shit to a bunch of hookers when a guy's got a box cutter telling me to shut the fuck up, like shit like that.
Oh shit, that's awesome. What were you doing in the Philippines talking shit to hookers? I like that story.
Well, I was talking. I guess I was talking shit there. Here's the thing. You don't know if they're guys or girls, so they're offering you different things. My coaches are there. I just fought. I beat this guy's fucking brother, and this guy's brother, actually another big buff black dude in the Philippines who was in the Navy. He was American. I fought him in the Philippines, but his brother was straight Filipino, like local, like little piece of shit sewer rat. Because the fucking black dude got out of the Navy, who was a fighter, a good fighter. And well, yeah, he wasn't a good fighter, but he's big. And he fucking married a Filipino lady, lived there, so he was fighting for this organization in the Philippines where there was like rooster fights and stuff. A dog fought some rats and shit. There was like all different kinds of fights back in the day. So this guy, brother-in-law or cousin-in-law, whatever the fuck he was, comes up to me in an alley, and he's trying to talk to me, and he goes, "Did you get paid?" And I go, "What?" He goes, "To fight, did you get paid?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "They paid you?" And I go, "Yeah. We get paid to fight." He's like, "How much?" And I was like, "I'm not fucking telling you how much I got paid." And it was $300 because it was back in the day, like 2002 or some shit. And I was like, "I'm not fucking telling you how much I got paid." And he pulls out a fucking box cutter, and these fucking hookers start like yelling at me to go away. They're like, "Give him the money and just go away. Go away. Give him the fucking money. Go away." I'm like, "Fuck you. Are you with a chick? Like, you got an Adam's apple. Are you gonna get his back? Are we fight? I'll fight. I'll fucking fight you, whore. Like, you're a dude. I'll fight you." And then she's like, "Just get the fuck out of here." And I was like, "You're not a girl. Like, I'm not. Like, she's like, "You can't talk to ladies that way." I was like, "You're a fucking dude. Like, you have a dick. Like, I'll fuck you up right here with your dress on." And so then these real hookers started yelling at me, and I think they probably had pussies. They were probably women. And I don't know. Next thing I know, this guy's fucking trying to grab from my pocket. I'm getting these little cuts on my fucking stomach, which I still have these bullshit fucking scars. Somebody asked me about them the other day on my fucking stomach from this little fucking box cutter that he had. I don't know what the fuck he even had that on him for, trying to get my money. And so then I just got really pissed off. And then my coach was like, "Just give him the fucking money." And I was like, "Fine, fuck it," because all these hookers are screaming at me now. They're calling for fucking their sheriffs or whatever, or deputies. This fucking guy's like holding the smallest knife in the world, probably with the smallest dick in the world, trying to fucking beat up a 6'3" fucking guy, talking about his cousin who's a black guy, which I'm totally confused about still. And so, yeah, I was just like, "I'm fucking out of here. Take my fucking $300. Enjoy the next fucking 10 years because you're going to live off the fucking rice peel-off, you piece of shit." And then I just left.
You ended up getting paid by the promoter though at the end again, right? Or did they hook you up?
He did. He came back and repaid me. They were pretty cool. They came to the hotel and they repaid me. And I was shocked, dude. He's like, "I can't fucking believe they did that." I was like, "I know, it's pretty good." He's like, "That never would have happened on an Indian reservation in America. They would have told you to suck their dick." I was like, "I know, Dad."
Oh, that's awesome. Have you had any super crazy shit happen when you were in Mexico boxing, or have things kind of settled down?
Oh, God. Dude, I fucking have, and it's pretty awesome that I didn't have crazy stories. See, MMA was so unregulated before that, as you guys know, hold on, let's see. MMA was so unregulated before, as you guys know, that there was opportunities for crazy shit to happen. Like if you guys remember, even when Jose Canseco fought, do you guys remember that?
Yeah, oh yeah, I do. And Troy, right?
Okay, yeah, but do you guys remember his walkout?
No.
I don't think so.
I'm going to remind you of something because it's actually happened. It's crazy. His wife and him walked out together. She was wearing a dress, and they were throwing baseballs out to the crowd. Fucking baseballs! People were just getting hit with fucking baseballs, and so they made him stop after like 6 baseballs. In Japan, I swear to God, they made him stop. Like they told his wife, "Stop fucking throwing balls. People aren't all paying attention. They're getting hit with balls." And so, like, I mean, I know that's kind of a random example. That's just one that popped in my head, but it's a pretty good example of just how fucking crazy MMA used to be. Like, we're gonna have a baseball player walk out, and he's gonna throw fucking hard baseballs into the crowd in Japan because that's market right. It's crazy. And then, you know, I fought where there was, you know, cockfights, and before I fought, and there was, you know, I fought in areas where it's half of a tarp roof, half of a regular roof and stuff. And so back in the day, there was opportunities. It wasn't even opportunities. It was just the platform of the sport was that crazy shit was going to happen. I mean, when I fought Cage Combat in 2002, we were supposed to fight at a longshoreman's hall in Wilmington. We ended up fighting on a fucking tennis court at the fucking San Pedro or the Palos Verdes Country Club because somebody knew the janitor because we got kicked out of the longshoreman's hall. So everybody went to this tennis fucking court, and Cage Combat, Cage with the combat, Cage Combat happened on a fucking tennis court on the border of San Pedro, fucking Palos Verdes in the middle of the night with cops on their way. Like, we heard cops, and we'd have to stop fighting and hide. So, like, and this is real. These are like real stories that, like, Boss Room, these people will tell you. Eddie Bravo, Bob Bass, they'll tell you. You know, Freddie Roach will be like, yeah, that's true. We were there. Like, it was fucking crazy. They made us go. We had to go to 3 locations. We went first to the Longshoremen's Hall. Then we went to the fucking Peninsula High School basketball gym because somebody was an assistant coach of, like, the girls' junior varsity team that had a key. And then they kicked us out, and we went and ended up finishing on tennis court. So anyway, back in the day, there was all kinds of crazy shit that used to happen. Then it got really regulated and money got involved. So really nothing crazy could happen with Bellator, World Series of Fighting, the UFC, the Ultimate Fighter, IFL, King of the Cage, Japanese, you know, Pride and Jungle Fight, all these organizations I fought for, rings. Nothing crazy was happening because they were making so much money. It was all regulated and legit. So all the crazy stories stopped, right? So I thought at this point in my life, at 34 years old, I'm done with the crazy fight stories. Now comes Mexico Pro Boxing. So the first fucking time I'm down there, and it's not like a huge grandiose story, but it is fucking crazy. First fight I have down there, they give me gloves. I didn't bring my own gloves. I didn't bring my own cup. I assumed they would provide that because that's what happens in the U.S. And, you know, because I'm coming from UFC, Bellator, really regulated things. So I'm assuming, okay, I come there and I bring my trunks, I bring my athletic supporter and my mouthpiece, and they're going to give me gloves, they're going to give me cups, they're going to give me the wraps that they want me to use because that's the way it's done. So I get there, and they're like, no, you got to borrow a cup, we'll get you gloves. So they're like, just next time bring everything. I was like, okay, no problem. So they give me gloves to use, right? I go in, and I knew they wanted me to lose this guy. I just knew they did because of the way things went before the fight. They were like, I could just tell, like, they were basically trying to bring in, because the first guy I fought was like the best guy I fought so far, second best guy I fought. Out of all my fights, I fought the worst, but he was the best boxer. He was like, 6'5", 260 pounds, actively boxing, and he could box. So they were basically just saying, like, okay, let's see if this fucking MMA guy really wants to fight a tough Mexican heavyweight. That's a real heavyweight, that hits hard. So I went in there, I fought sloppy, threw a bunch of haymakers, but won by knockout in the first round, my first fight. A bunch of my friends came down to Tijuana, not only because there's the fucking Hong Kong and all these whorehouses that my buddies love going to, but it's fucking Tijuana, so it's a blast. So there's crazy shit going on. People are lighting fires, and it's fucking fourth world country. So they're all going down there getting wasted. So I win, and my friends go fucking crazy because they're like, holy shit, Sean just knocked out this really fucking big Mexican heavyweight pro boxer. And the guy's all fucked up and bleeding on the ground, and Sean was just kind of throwing haymakers the whole fight. That was fucking awesome. So he didn't really box him too much. So they're going crazy. They come in, they're jumping around the ring. I'm grabbing them. There's like 50 of my friends. Somebody took my gloves off, right? So, like, my gloves were taken off in the melee of me celebrating. I go back to the locker room about 20 minutes later, and a fucking federale and a promoter come in with a gun, and they go, give us the gloves. And I go, what? And they go, one glove is missing. And I go, what? And they go, we lent you gloves. One glove is missing. One of your people stole it. And I looked at them. And it's funny because when they want money, they speak perfect English. When they're accusing you of something, it's all in Spanish. So they're telling me that one of my buddies stole a glove. And I'm looking at these guys, and I'm being pretty fucking rude. because I'm like laughing in their face. I'm like, we're in Tijuana. Do you think any of these motherfuckers that just spent $100 on your cervezas are fucking stealing one glove? I go, look at your own goddamn people in this fourth world country. This isn't fucking my shit. And so they're like, fuck you. And the guy starts pointing the gun at me. He's like, give us the glove. And I'm like, I don't have a fucking glove. So my coach is like, Sean, just calm down. We got to find the glove. And I'm like, what do you mean find the, I have 50 people. These guys probably have the glove. They probably just want money. And, you know, they're like, blah, blah. So eventually they said, give us $50 and we'll call it even. But I was pissed off. So I'm like, fuck you. We're not giving you $50. This is wrong. I'm the fucking semi-main event. Like, I brought people here. All these people are spending money on tickets. All these people are spending money on beer and fucking tequila and tacos. I brought half the fucking crowd. I'm not giving you $50 for a glove I didn't take and that none of my friends from America took. And so that was one kind of crazy situation. It was a tense situation, you know? Like a guy had a gun and he's in promoter, my coach, me, and a fucking federale in a dark room with one light bulb. And screaming at me, and I'm screaming, fuck you, you know, fuck you motherfuckers, because I've been down Mexico and I'm just crazy and pissed off anyway. My adrenaline was still pumping, and they ended up calming down, and they just said, okay, next time don't ever let anything happen. So then the next fight I go down there, and a different promoter I fight for, I come with a Clado Reyes Cup, brand new Clado Reyes Cup, like the same kind Oscar De La Hoya, Canelo Alvarez would use, like the pro $159 Clado Reyes Cup in my gloves, Clado Reyes gloves. They go, you can't use that cup. I go, I think I can. And they go, no, you can't. And I go, well, your fucking national hero, Canelo Alvarez, uses it. Julius Cesar Chavez uses it. Oscar fucking De La Hoya uses it. Pancho fucking Villa would use it if he had a fucking boxing career. And then they're like, well, you can't use it. And so they give me an old shitty title cup, boxing cup to wear. And then in the locker room afterwards, they're like, oh, the cup rental's $20. And I go, $20? My fight lasted 58 seconds. And they're like, yeah, well, it's $20. And you guys got to remember, Brian, the exchange rate's 21-1 in Tijuana. So that means they charge me $440 for 58 seconds to use a cup. It's just the fact is it only cost me $20 because of the exchange rate. But so stuff like that, you know.
Jesus, that is insane.
So basically, nothing sketchy, nothing so sketchy to where it's like very sketchy, but just it's all a racket. They're desperate people that have no money. They have no money down there. So I understand. Like, I get frustrated, but I do understand culturally. Like, they have no fucking money. You know, like, so $1 to them is $21 to us. So that's 2 days of food, 3 days of food for them. A $1 bill is 3 days of food for them, you know? So they're desperate. So, like, a photographer will take pictures of me with a fucking Polaroid, bro. Like, you know Polaroid cameras, like 1983 Polaroid?
Yeah.
And he'll hand me the Polaroids and insist I give him $5 per picture. And he'll take like 3 pictures and he'll choose the best 3 and then he'll be like, or 4 pictures and ask for $20 for 4 pictures. And so, and you know, now I just go, hey, thank you so much. They're awesome pictures. And I give him the $20 to kind of support the fact that he's trying to support boxing or make a living with boxing down there. So you got to imagine, yeah, it's sketchy and there's stuff like that, but you also have to be kind of understanding. You can't just Donald Trump mentality the whole thing. Even though I love Donald Trump, you can't just fucking build a wall. Fuck these faggots. Like, you got to fucking understand. They're fucking desperate. They've got no money. Their economy's shitty. Their government's shitty. It's corrupt. There's crime. So they don't look at me like a victim. They kind of look at me like an ATM. And so they don't want to hurt. They don't want to hurt me. They don't want to kill me because then the ATM's gone. They want to threaten me enough and make themselves threatened enough to where I go, okay, here's some more money. Here's some more money. And I get it because I'm smart enough to recognize the economic turmoil, you know?
Yeah. I got a question. I heard you on Carson's podcast. You mentioned like it was like your second fight, some guy like backed out, pushed out, and then after you won your fight, he challenged you like in the ring to a fight. Did you end up actually fighting that dude?
No, I'm calling him out right now again. Mimoso Sanchez is his name. His fucking name is Mimoso. His nickname's Mimoso. His name is I'll get his name. I'll put it on a comment section of the fucking interview because fuck that guy, and he knows exactly who he is. I just call him fat ass now. Because he's a fat fucking heavyweight. So every time he calls me, I just go fuck you, fat ass. But the fucking guy, this motherfucker, and he's 7-2, so a pretty good boxer. He's the #1 ranked heavyweight in Tijuana. And so we were supposed to fight. I didn't even know he was our number one ranked heavyweight in Tijuana. To be quite honest, between you and me and the rest of the fucking world that's going to hear this, I wouldn't have fought him if I knew that. But for my second fight, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have fought. He was 6-2 at the time. I wouldn't have fought a 6-2 guy when I was 1-0, just trying to build a boxing career. But I was scheduled to fight him, but I didn't even know who the fuck he was, right? So we weighed in and shit, and I was like, yeah, he kind of looks like a little chubby, but he looks tough. Like I could tell like he was game. He was like 6'3", 6'4". He's kind of fat, but big. Like he was like a fat, muscular guy. Like had a big ass, but you could tell it was like muscular ass. Had a big gut, but like kind of firm. So big, but not like cut or ripped. But I could tell, okay, this is gonna be a fight. But I had no idea he was 6-2 or the number one heavyweight guy in Tijuana, and I was gonna fight him. He pulls out once he starts like somebody tells him, hey, that's a Sean Loeffler, the Destroyer, UFC, blah, blah, blah. They probably like show him the Pat Smith knockout or the Aaron Brink knockout or something, you know, whatever. And then he's like, oh, shit, fuck this. So he pulls out. So they go and they get me another guy who was, his name was Alvaro Vasquez, and he was 2-4 at the time. But at least we found somebody with some fights to fight me. So, 2-4 guy fighting a 1-0 guy is a good fight anywhere. So, I fight Alvaro Vasquez, and I knocked him out. And I was kind of a dick in that fight because I was pissed the fuck off that this guy pulled out right before and that I didn't know who I was fighting. And Alvaro Vasquez's MMA record is like 13-5. So he's a lot better MMA fighter, you know, than obviously boxer, who's now 2-5. So I fight him, I knock him out, and I was like talking shit the whole time I was fighting him, which he couldn't even understand me. The guy speaks fucking pure Spanish, and I'm like talking shit in English, like he's fucking understanding me. He was like smiling, thinking I'm probably like complimenting him, and I'm like so furious. And so I'm talking shit. I'm like, yeah, fuck your mother, you fucking cunt, and I'm fucking hitting him, and he's fucking smiling, and I knock him out. And I'm like, okay, cool. This has been fucking lame, but at least I got an opponent and knocked him out. And this motherfucker comes in the ring, and I look and I hear this voice, I am the number one Tijuana heavyweight. And then I hear this translator like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And so I thought, here's how dumb I am, guys. I'm so fucking punch-drunk and stupid. I thought they were calling me the number one heavyweight in Tijuana. So I grabbed the microphone and I'm like, thank you. I am the number one Tijuana heavyweight. And they're like, no. You're not. You're 2-0. He's the number one. And I'm like, oh, wait, what the fuck? You motherfucker. And so I grabbed the microphone back in front of everybody. I was like, this piece of shit pussied out against me. And I started going off. It's pretty funny. And so then every time I see this guy, every fucking fight, because he's like part of the commission down there. So I don't know what the fuck he is. So he's at every fight in every way, and he comes up to me. He's like, when are we going to fight? Pelea, tú y mi, pelea, you me fight. And I look at him and I go, we were supposed to fight, you fucking retard. You fucking pussied out. And he's like, and then he giggles. He's like, ha, 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 ha. When will we fight? And then I'm just like, oh, shut up, fat ass.
I can't believe that nothing came of him calling you out. Like, the fact that like, he should be embarrassed if it didn't materialize after that.
But you got to remember this. What did I just say about their economy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's probably thinking if I can talk shit every fight and build this up, they'll bring me to America to fight him for $3,000.
That's true.
There you go.
You know,
you called him out. Maybe he could be your next fight after this one.
Yeah, I mean, the guy doesn't have a, trust me, we looked into that for this one. We asked the guy if he had a passport. We offered to pay for a passport and for a work visa. We were like, you'll say you work at the compound, dude. I will fucking kill you. And he's like, no. So we did everything we could to get that guy to fight me on the show, but he doesn't have a visa. And so, but yeah, I think that, you know, like I said, if I were a smart man, and I'm not, but if I were, I think he's trying to talk enough shit. Because he's a pretty smart guy. He actually, the guy, he's an asshole, and he talks a lot of shit, but he does speak French and Spanish, so he's pretty educated. He went to college and stuff. And so he's 6-2 boxer. So I think that he's trying to talk enough shit right now, thinking if I go to the U.S., get beat once, I'm going to have to come back to Mexico to get a win or something, right? To maybe build myself up again. And he's then thinking, well, then I can just strong-arm a promoter for $1,000 to lose to Sean. And right now I'm only getting paid $200 to fight in boxing, American. But if I fight Sean, I'll get $1,000 American. So he's probably trying to, you know, hype it up a little bit until he can maybe make some money because, you know, that's just kind of their MO. Like I said, they're desperate people.
Dude, when you like picture, when you call him fat ass and you like mock his voice, I picture Bald Bull from fucking like Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Dude, he looks like that sort of, dude. he sort of looks like that. He's like, oi, oi. Like you hit him in the stomach, he goes, oi. Yeah, dude.
Oh, that's great. I'm never going to let that down now. I want you to fight him now. I'm going to watch that shit. I'm not going down there, though.
but it's like, but now since he called me out the second fight, and I've had 5 other fights that he's been at since then, now like he comes and he brings me water and he gives me a hug and he's like, what's up, crazy bueno loco? What's up, gringo loco? And I'm just like, oh, fuck you, fat ass, get away from me.
Oh, that's great.
And it's pretty funny though, because he didn't know how to say. Oh, here's a pretty funny. You guys will appreciate this on a podcast. Your listeners will dig this. So I did teach him how to say "fuck you" though, because he goes, whenever I say something to him, I would just go, "Hey, fuck you," and he would go, "Okay, como?" And then he had a translator ask me what exactly is he saying, because he's never been out of Tijuana. You got to remember, you know what I mean. So the only interaction they have with Americans is like me boxing. So I said to him, I go, dude, what I said was, fuck you. Like, fuck you. Like when you take a penis and you shove it in your ass when you're in prison and you get raped in a jail in Tijuana, fuck you. And he starts laughing, right? The guy starts cracking up. And he's like, hey, mira, which means like, look, you know, and he looks at me, he goes, John, fuck you. Fuck you. And I'm like, yes. Mr. Mimoso is addictive. I was like, there you go, Mimoso. Fuck you. And he's like, John, fuck you. And I'm like, yeah. So I'm all proud because now every time I see him, I go, what's up, fat ass? And he goes, fuck you.
Man, you know what? In a couple of years, you guys will be best friends. I'm calling it now.
Yeah, no, that guy and me go back and forth. He's funny. He's a good boxer. He just won. He just fought. He fought some other guy, and he's funny. He wears a bright silver jumpsuit with the fucking mask from Johnny Darko, that fucking rabbit.
Yeah.
He wears a fucking bright platinum shiny jumpsuit with a Johnny Darko rabbit mask and calls himself Mimoso and walks out into the ring. So it's like hard to hate him because he's fat and he's this fat fucking body in this fucking spandex fucking silver costume, this stupid thing on, and then he can kind of box. You're like laughing.
It's like an EDM DJ.
Oh no, he walks into that shit. He walked in. He does. He got roasted. Bro, if you look at one of my posters just look at my poster for my fight 3 fights ago. My fight 3 fights ago, the one that was Facebook Live. The fight that was Facebook Live, the poster, you see him with his fucking mask and his platinum jumpsuit and his fucking glow sticks. He's the main event. It's right on my Facebook page. Anybody that wants to look, they'll be like, and it just says Mimoso Sanchez, and they'll be like, holy shit, he's right here on his Facebook page is a guy in a bunny suit. If you guys have internet access, look at it now.
I'm gonna look this up.
I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah.
Oh,
are you looking at it right now?
I'm trying.
I'm looking for it.
Name?
Okay, so go to you're on my Facebook page. Scroll through and you'll see a poster from a couple fights ago. There's like a Facebook Live video. So the one before the Facebook Live video, you'll see a poster of a fucking dude with a fucking bunny suit on and a fucking platinum thing. He's the main event. You guys will find it, I guarantee. It's right on my page. What's that?
I see it. Right I found it. Mimoso Sanchez.
Perfect.
I got it.
There you go.
Dude.
That's my nemesis. That's the Destroyer's nemesis.
Dude, we're going to put...
I
we need to put him as that. I want him to be our fucking, profile picture on our Facebook page.
It's so funny. I know. The guy... But he calls himself Mimosa. Everything about the guy is genius. You know what I mean? So it's pretty funny. So yeah, there's some funny shit that goes out of Mexico.
He's gonna come up to you like, Sean, I got something you can't refuse. He's gonna offer you some crazy ass scenario, and you got to take it. You guys got to fight now. This is ridiculous. You know what? And you need to make some crazy fucking outfit when you walk out to fight this dude.
Obviously.
One up his ass. Put dick.
Well, no, that's the fight. If you look, that fight, I weighed in with a mask on. I weighed in with a skull mask on. If you see that,
you need to go crazier.
No. So I know I need to go way crazier. But the only reason I wore the skull mask is I was like, oh, this guy's going to show up in a bunny costume. I'm going to show up in a scary skull mask and show him what a fucking scary motherfucker looks like, not a fat fucking Mexican. And so he was like laughing. No, hey, and by the way, when he was, his name's Misael Sanchez. Misael Sanchez. Misael Sanchez. Misael Sanchez. So, hey, Misael, you fucking fat fuck. I am giving you more promotion than you've ever had in your goddamn Mexican life right now. So he better appreciate it, which he will. And I know he's listening to this, or he'll listen to this on Facebook tomorrow, and he'll go, "Fuck you."
Dude, he'll definitely see it when we make him our profile picture.
Oh, dude, it's amazing. He's
in his Daft Punk outfit.
Yeah, no, and like I said, he's a Daft Punk guy. He is in Daft Punk outfit. Like I said, I hope that there's guys like that still around. But James Toney asked to fight me, and fucking Roy Jones Jr. I know what they're looking at. They're looking at, I'm going to knock out a legit MMA fighter, and we can build this as MMA versus boxing. So. The more that I keep going the direction I'm going, and I look at that as a good thing. If James Toney is fucking contacting promoters to fight Sean Loeffler, and my name is coming out of James Toney's mouth, regardless if he's 49 years old and he's in the Hall of Fame of boxing, fuck yeah, that's making me a little bit more legitimate in boxing. If Roy Jones Jr., regardless if he's fucking 42 years old, is fucking saying, I want to fight that MMA guy, Sean, that's helping me. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Keep calling me out. Keep telling me I'm shitty. Keep telling me that you're going to knock me the fuck out. Keep telling me that MMA guys don't know. I want that. Don't you think that's what I'm aiming for, you stupid motherfuckers? Like, I want you guys to say that and call me out. I hope if I can fight a James Toney and a Roy Jones Jr. in boxing, regardless of how old they are, those are two fucking sick-ass feathers in my cap.
Oh, yeah. If you KO Roy Jones, that's going to be on ESPN regardless, probably.
Absolutely. And especially the manner that I would KO him in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree completely. So that's my goal. My goal is to win. I've got to fight this guy, and I'm not looking past this guy. So I want everybody to know that. And then 3 weeks from now, I've got another fight in Montana. I'm fighting in Billings, Montana, May 16th. So, and I'm fighting the number 5 guy in the world in the WBC. He's 55-12, Chauncey Welliver. So I'm fighting Chauncey Welliver, the 55-12 guy, right after I knock out Oswaldo Ortega. That's the plan, And then I got to fight June 29th in Palm Springs. We're still looking at opponents for that. And after that, I should be 10-0, and I think that's solid. If I'm 10-0, especially with 10 knockouts, plus my 33-5 MMA career, fighting, being signed with the UFC, fighting in Bellator, and King of the Cage champion, those 3 things put together plus my boxing, I think that's good enough for them to build up a fucking pay-per-view against a Roy Jones or a James Toney. I know it is. I know for a fact it is.
Dude, that would be sick.
Sure. What's the turnaround on that?
That would really launch you into like a next stratosphere type of thing if you can pull this off.
Yeah, that's what we're going for. I mean, that's obviously what we're going for. That's why I'm mentioning their names because they fucking mentioned my name. And James Toney, just so you know, James Toney, I know you fucking said keep this on the DL. I've got the fucking text from the Roy Jones Jr. people saying that you asked to fight me and to keep it on the DL. I'm not keeping that shit on the DL. You called me out, James Toney. Fucking call me out then, motherfucker. I'm here. If you don't fucking go to a promoter and fucking say, I want to fight that MMA guy right now when he's young and doesn't know that much boxing or doesn't have that much boxing savvy, set me up that fight. I'm here. I'm fucking here. Don't tell him to keep it on the DL. Fucking, if you want to call me out, I'll call you out in public. I'm right fucking here. So, those guys know. They know what's up. I'm about to be 35 in May. I'm no spring chicken either. I'm not a fucking 22-year-old calling out fucking old guys that when I haven't accomplished anything. I've accomplished motherfucking shit. So yeah, it's like that's what I want. I want these. I'm the old school, old timer UFC guy that's a little bit older than these young kids. They're the old timer boxers. Well, let's fight and see who the life size Conor McGregor and life size Floyd Mayweather fight instead of the midget size guys. Then 147 is real interesting. Not.
Yeah, if you pull this off, this could be like some James J. Braddock, Cinderella Man, Russell Crowe shit.
Well, that's because what we're hoping is we can beat you. Well, if we can beat a James Toney or a Roy Jones Jr., I would like to fight both of them and knock both of them out. But if I could beat one of them, which I know will set one of them, as long as I'm 10-0, they'll set that up. Because just like Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather, it makes sense. It's not going to make as much money as them, but it'll make a lot more money than whoever the fuck Roy Jones Jr. or James Toney would fight next. So
yeah.
There's and that's no doubt. And like Bob Arum, Al Heyman, Don King, Teddy Atlas, fucking Burt Randolph-Sugar, fucking Larry Merchant, any one of those guys, Max Kellerman, Paulie Malignaggi, all of those guys would consensusly look at this and be like, yeah, realistically, Roy Jones versus Sean on a national pay-per-view would make more money than Roy Jones versus a 12-1 up-and-comer, obviously, because of the whole MMA. So our goal as a team is to fight one of these guys, one of these fucking, older guys. Since they're still competing, I don't call them past their prime because they both still winning, even though, Roy Jones just fought a guy that was 23-3 and beat him. So, and Bobby Gunn, that old fucking bare knuckle street fighter, but he was 23-3 in pro boxing. So, yes, he's fighting older guys or guys like me or guys Bobby Gunn, but he's winning. So, if I beat him and I beat James Toney or just one of them, then I've got the legitimacy to call out the current title contenders. Because if Chauncey Welliver's number 5, so I beat Chauncey at 55-12. Yes, he is on a 4-fight losing streak. I'm not going to hide that from anybody. It's right out there. So he's 55-12, and he was 55-8, but he's still number 5 in the WBC. So if I beat him, and when I beat him in Montana, I'm looking at the fact that if we can get a big name like a Roy Jones or James Toney, then I'll call it Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder or David Hay or Klitschko if he beats, Tyson Fury. Because then if I'm 11-0, 12-0, but beating one of those guys heavyweight, plus my MMA background, I can call out a world contender. And then, like you said, then it becomes a James J. Braddock Cinderella man. Because beating Roy Jones is awesome. And beating James Toney is awesome. But beating them to fight for a legitimate world championship, the IBF, the WBC, the WBO, that's a dream come true.
What are you weighing in right now?
Like 215.
Yeah, you're light.
Yep.
You got like a speed on
a middleweight when in MMA, so.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. I saw all your fights are around the middleweight. So,
I'm 6'3", and I usually walk at about, for MMA, I try to walk at like 207 when I was fighting middleweight, or light heavyweight, I'd still just walk at 207. And then boxing, I just kind of walk around what's comfortable. When I run a lot and lift a lot and train, I seem to sit and I'm eating perfectly. Oh, I've got to give a shout out right now. It's really important. Fuck me. I'm glad you guys brought this up. There's a company called the Food Preppies, or the Food Preppies have been doing all of my nutrition, and it is insane. I've never had a meal plan or a nutritionist that does everything for me. They cook the food, they cut the food, they deliver the food. Every single meal's portioned out. It's all fucking bomb. They don't charge me a fucking dollar because they sponsor support my career. They give all of my fighters and my friends and family meals delivered to their house for $5.50 a meal delivered.
That's nice.
Ready to go. It's fucking so nice. So I have to give them a shout out because I would do it even if they didn't sponsor me, just now realizing how convenient and time-saving fucking meal prep is. And so, yeah, basically with your question, my weight, I sit right at 214 because of the Food Preppy people, have my diet dialed, but I feel fucking perfect. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I love if I was bigger, I'd be slow.
Yeah, I like that you're all light heavyweight.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you've got a fucking plan. You've got it all figured out, kind of. You just lay in the building blocks to get there, but you've got it in the back of your head exactly what your goal is, and you're doing everything you can to get to that goal.
Exactly. Since I'm not a spring chicken, but since I do have some legitimate amateur boxing experience, we knew we could give me some fights down in Mexico, and we knew we could give me some favorable matchups where I could grow as a fighter and grow as a boxer in particularly. So we went down to Mexico to get me some fights. Nobody, and I'm not being braggadocious, nobody really thought I would get 7 first-round knockouts, including myself. Really, we all expected maybe a couple knockouts or TKOs, but we expected maybe some decisions, some third rounds, because it was all 4-round fights so far. No, my last fight was 6 rounds. But we expected some some tougher fights, and so we expected that. So I think everybody was pretty surprised that I've translated my knockout power in MMA into boxing pretty well. I've kind of got the niche to timing things out. So that being said, we realized, okay, wow, now by building me up as a knockout artist and getting some wins in Mexico, we'll be offered a pretty legitimate USA debut. We didn't realize that we'd be lucky enough to sign with fucking Roy Jones Promotions and be the co-main event at the Burbank Convention Center, but we are, so fuck it, So everything's going in the right direction,
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we're getting a little close to running out of time here, but seriously, Sean, you have been so generous with your time with us. I was not expecting to be able to get to talk to you again for over an hour this time. So it's been real.
I was gonna give you guys, like I said, I was gonna give you guys like 40 minutes, and then I realized like this is their inaugural show. This is the first show they ever had. They're gonna need some fucking sound clips and shit to cut up and try to make it sound like they've got some characters. So I was like, I gotta give these guys some content for their first show. Not only am I honored to be the first guest on a show that I hope ends up being like the Joe Rogan Experience and millions of followers, but I gotta give you guys, I got to give you guys attention because you're giving me attention to do an interview and bring, light to my career, me as a person, my past, my history, my family, and my sponsors, and my business, the Compound. So I can't not give you guys as much time as you want because you guys are so generous with, giving me exposure.
Well, I appreciate that, man.
Sure.
Definitely spread the word, man. We're really excited about this show. So we appreciate you coming on. I loved it. It was awesome.
Yeah, because I've had... Oh, go ahead, Sean.
Go on. No, go on.
Well, I was just saying, I've had a show before that you were a guest on, that verbal submission, when we took your interview and put it on MMA Mania, and it got like a shit ton of traction, those crazy stories. So this is I knew that the first time we were going to have a guest, this is our like fourth show, but I knew like the first guest I ever wanted to have Sean Loeffler. I didn't even know you had a fight coming up, to be honest.
Saturday.
Crazy.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. So in the next, maybe in a month or two, I'll have to get back on your guys' show. And why don't I bring a couple of boxers on the show to do the interview with me? Like one of my close friends that's been helping me out, he won silver medal in the '84 Olympics. His name's Virgil Hill, world famous fighter. He would love to come on this radio interview with me and stuff like that too. Chris Getz, the guy that, boxing Tommy Hearns and stuff like that. So in a couple of months, I could also bring some other boxers, one or two guys on the show with me to tell about some old school boxing stuff that happened in the 70s and 60s stories,
That sounds awesome to me, man. Oh my God, that sounds amazing. I know who that silver medalist is too. I'm a big boxing fan, so I'm excited.
So you know Virgil Hill. So me and Virgil Hill could do it next. How sick would that be, right?
Fuck yeah. Hell yeah, bro. So I think after you get these next couple of fights out of the way, get your plan starting to come to fruition, man. We can get you back on the show with those guys and have a hell of a go.
100%. I really appreciate. I want to give a quick shout out. Just mention my sponsors as I always do. Obviously, I talked about the food preppies. Now, I say the food preppies is like a sponsor. It's not even a sponsor. They cook my fucking food. Like, it's so important to have good, easy meals and to save time, especially because my daughter Ariana and me like to spend free time together. Well, Daddy's cooking off his meals on Sundays. You don't get that, So, and I never really realized that before with meal prep, that what you're getting with a meal prep company has nothing to do with nutrition, nothing to do with healthy or quality food or taste. You're going to get that anywhere. It's time saving. Like, and for me, if I get to spend family time or training time or time on an interview with you, it's well worth it. So I got to thank the food preppies because they make it so I can do interviews like this and shit and not be cooking and cutting food up. War Fuel, if you guys know what that is, it's a hydration drink, and it's actually like one of the only FDA-approved hydration drinks. So it's pretty awesome. It uses pomegranates and stuff like that. And once again, they don't pay me or anything. I just drink their shit. I feel really fucking good with their shit. And then besides that, Roy Jones Jr. Promotions. They're giving me an opportunity to become a boxer, and you can't really take away. You can never undersell opportunities. Like At Odds Podcast, you guys are giving me an opportunity. So you can never undersell how big of an opportunity this could or couldn't be, because it could open doors to huge things for me, for you guys, for everything. And the same with Roy Jones boxing, promotion and stuff like that. So I got to just give love where love is due, because those guys are taking care of me. So is War Fuel and so is Food Preppies. Besides that, the Compound, my gym, my coach Chris Getz, my daughter, and At Odds Podcast. That's who made all this happen.
Hey, I gotta tell you, man. If you ever get that Tony or that Roy Jones fight, you come on the week before that fight and you talk to us about that.
Absolutely. No, we're gonna get the fight as long as I do. As long as I do what I'm supposed to do, the fights are gonna. I mean, that's what we're talking about. Like the reason I'm on this show and legally willing to open my mouth about shit like that is because it's gonna happen as long as I don't fuck up. As long as I'm winning and knocking people out, they're going to make it happen, because that's the only fight that makes sense for everyone to make money. And if it makes money, it makes sense. That's why selling off for James Toney or selling off for Roy Jones Jr. will happen as long as I'm undefeated. And that's why Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather will happen, because it makes money. It's going to. I just have to do my job, knock people the fuck out.
Oh, yeah. Well, You guys can catch Sean's fight. It's Saturday, April 15th in Burbank, California at the Burbank Convention Center. Tickets are $65. So if you're listening, you're in that area, go check out his fight. It's going to be awesome. Sean's the best. Sean, thank you so much for stopping by the show, and we just want to wish you the absolute best the rest of the way, and good luck on Saturday, man.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys having me on the show. I'm going to look for another, big first-round knockout, and then I will give you guys a call and a text message and start posting your interview everywhere. So give me the link, and I'll put it up.
Oh, yeah,
buddy, thank you.
Yeah, I'll cut this up and put it specifically, the interview itself, on YouTube, on our YouTube channel as well. So you guys,
perfect. So I can repost
your fans
that.
just want to listen to that. I'll make sure we get that to you too.
Awesome, guys. Well, you guys are the best, and big shout out to At Odds Podcast, and thank you, gentlemen, once again. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Sean. Take care, bud.
Thank you.
Guys.
Take care, man.